coming in to lay a cheap shot on, and Navarrete got up holding his neck, and the Wigan players said there was pressure on the neck, so because that was what the call was, that's a sin bin, that's how the rules fall. And I don't think we want to remove that sort of stuff. Whether Matt Cook actually did put undue pressure on the neck himself, I don't believe he did whatsoever. And I think that's why he's only been given the caution and the sin bin insufficient for the incident. But that's what the difference was for me, the way the rules are written, not the way the referees applied anything in this game.
Yeah, that one there, that Matt Cook one. So I was listening to this again on. I want to listen to it on 5 Live, but that was only on the iPlayer, so I had to listen to the website, which was either Manchester or was Radio Leeds. So I opted for Radio Leeds. So they're obviously a bit biased, but they were going on about Tompkins appealing for it. You know, that they were saying that's what it came down to, with sort of Tompkins really appealing.
It wasn't just Tompkins, but he was the captain of the side, so you'd think if the captain sees one of his players injured, he's got a right to ask a question.
Plus Sam would anyway.
He was at the dummy half. Yeah, well, probably so. But in this instance, let's not tar him with a brush of when he's actually the captain. And if he was your captain of your side, what would you want him to do in that situation? And I think wind your neck in beyond that, to be honest, because let's face it, that's what you'd want your captain to do.
Yeah.
Tommy Lulaway was the dummy half, was I think the first person who pointed it out actually. But yeah, I felt a bit harsh for Matt Cook on that, but it's the rules, and there was pressure applied, but it was probably more Gadwin Springer coming in over the top trying to land a cheap shot, because where we could see, we were looking right in on the tackle, and it didn't look like Cook did much, but it did look like Springer was it through a swinger. Okay, Fatboy Rob said, no Eden, no Foster, no Gale, no Holmes, no McMeekan, no Milner, no Minikin, no Roberts, no Senny Lafayette, no Wardle, no Watts, no Problem. I've never heard of Problem. Obviously that's another player that they would start. He said borrowed with permission from Honest Rugby League at Cast Tigers _RL. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, Rob was jubilant after the game. He used Periscope for the first time to ask me how I thought the game went as we were walking out. There you go. What did Chris McEwen have to say?
So Chris says, arriving at Weldon Road, I assume I'd got my DeLorean up to 88 miles per hour whilst driving over the M62.
Just a bit of colour on that, Bri. We were at the turnstiles, and he turned round to me and my brother Matt and said to me, I didn't think it would really be this shit.
Was that his first trip there then?
Yeah, right. First time he'd ever been to Weldon Road. He was like, I'd been to Wakefield, and that's shit. But this is shit.
Did you go in that sort of that terracing down the side? Was that the way you went in?
No, we went in
where the sort of main stand, using that term loosely.
Yeah, we went in the training grounds side. Yeah.
Because normally I sort of go in that sort of main terrace, and then you walk through that terrace and you go behind the sticks, where they wave the open end, where they were away fans. But those turnstiles, I suppose that ground was built in the 30s or something like that. But
yeah, God,
how thin people must have been then, because it's a real square, and there's a lot of...
That was luxury for them. They'd spent all week down the line. That was spacious, Brian.
Yeah. But there's a lot of rugby fans, a bit on the XL size, aren't they? And I've seen plenty of times where lads have got there thinking, Christ, how am I going to get through this turnstile for it? So yeah. But
other than what Chris had to say about the ground, what did he have to say?
Yeah, he also says the game wasn't great and there were some baffling referee decisions, but it feels like Wigan massively missed out on 2 points. Last tackle plays seemed hopeful rather than anything planned. Still, second for now, so no need to panic though.
Yeah, I mean, it was an entertaining game, I thought, rather than saying the game wasn't great. I enjoyed it. I mean, I think there were scratchy parts from both sides, to be expected with the amount of players out. I mean, probably Cass's scratch side had played together more than Wigan's scratch side has, because of the circumstances of why we had players out. I mean, Joel Tompkins has only been gone 2 weeks, and Ryan Sutton's only been injured a couple of weeks as well. So even we've had so much continuity that it's a challenge overcoming that. But with the amount of players out that Cass had, you can't take it away from them. Both teams lost players during the game. Wigan lost Dan Sargentson on the third set of the game after he'd taken in 2 really good carries as well and was looking promising. And then Jai Hitchcock went for that tackle in the air that got him, and then Morgan Escaray, he always gets hurt at Cass. He went off in the second half too. But there were some highlights from the game, particularly the two Wigan tries from the young wingers. I mean, check out Liam Marshall's try. It was an absolute cracker. He basically got given the ball from Morgan Escaray right on his touchline, 60 metres out from the opposition try line, nowhere to go. Bumped inside a little bit, got through a couple of tackles from some tiring big blokes. It was about half an hour of the game gone, so some of the big men had played some long minutes already by that time, because both sides had middle unit forwards playing in the second row, playing on the edge forward role. But yeah, bumped through, then great in open space to get round QLT as well. Absolutely brilliant try. Wigan had a couple of tries scratched off as well, and Cass had during the game. There was 2 obstruction calls against Wigan that would have been tries. The second of those incredibly crucial, because it gave the penalty that led to the field position for Ellis to score a drop goal at his 3rd attempt. Slightly ropey drop goal at that. But Wigan had a try for Tommy Lulawai where we thought he got it grounded, but the in-goal judge disagreed and thought that a Cass player had got his hand under it. We think the hand came under before the in-goal judge saw the ball on the ground, sort of after it was grounded. So that was a bit unfortunate from our perspective, and Tom Davies had a try that would have been a try if it wasn't for an obstruction that was called. Cass bombed 2 tries. Jai Hitchcock dropped one in the first half, and I think, what's his face? Who's there? Green? James Green inexplicably threw a pass when the line was gaping 4 yards out to Junior Moores, who then knocked on, and that was during the period where Cass were on top. And ultimately, the reason Cass won this game is for that period from around about the 50th minute, well, from about the 45th minute really, all the way through to that Matt Cook try in the 62nd minute. They were absolutely the best team in that spell of the game. Like, Wigan had some good spells in the first half, and right at the start of the second half, but really that spell from Cass is what made the difference in the game, and it gave them enough to just get over the line in the end with a very backspinny tip drop goal that went over. But credit to them, they won it late, and they won it with a lot of men out, and some cracking tries scored by Wigan, but some disappointing stuff that led to them getting down the field and scoring the winning drop goal. So
and it's interesting because I think looking at the squads, it looks like, I know numbers aren't always anything, but from the squad numbers 1 to 17, Cass had 7 players and Wigan had 9 players. So that shows, despite the names, you look at some of the names and go, okay, there's some players there who've done some stuff, but actually that does give you an indication of how much both of those teams were needing to put on the depth of their squad.
Yeah, one of the players from Cass that was outside of that number group though is QLT, who you assume is going to be brought in to be their starting fullback. So yeah. So, but then conversely, Jamie Ellis probably won't be starting after that point. Wigan brought in Liam Paisley for his debut. I'm a big fan of him in the second row, and I do think he put himself about quite a bit. There was a few times he was maybe a pace one the wrong side of a play for defensively, but he didn't let himself down whatsoever in that regard. And for Cass, I think Mitch Clark seems to be a guy who can make a bit of a meaty impression. I mean, he didn't get a lot of minutes in this game. Millington and Moores, who played in the second row, played all the game, and asked Gabe Hamlin for Wigan, who moved into the second row when we had to switch things around when Sarge got injured. But those 3 big blokes, they always looked like they were on the cusp of being absolutely knackered, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But all of them did something impressive the next time, but Junior Moores was just swatting Wigan players off all over the place. It was a disappointment for him that he couldn't score that try, and instead Matt Cook scored a try off a forward pass. That was what got them to that lead, that set them up for the ability for the drop goal winner.
Why didn't Liam Farrell play? Was he injured? Because he was in the 19.
Yeah, he was ruled 60-40 on the morning of the game.
Ah, right, okay.
So that means he was probably more 40-60.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to this in the same bar that I listened to the Leeds Catalans match. So it was about 12 or quarter to 1 lunchtime. So I was
Yeah.
This was really exciting listening to it on the radio. It was a great game to listen to. And as a Wakey fan, who do you want? One, I'm not a Wigan fan, which means obviously I want them to lose, and I'm a Wakey fan, which means I want Cass to lose. So it's a tricky one.
Surely the better outcome for you would have been a Wigan win in terms of the table and that sort of stuff in this.
Well, actually, yeah. Well, one of my mates is a Wigan fan, so he said to me, "It's obvious, Brian, who you should support." So I decided to support Wigan for it, but not that it helped, and he still lost. So it was a bit like back in Wakey, really.
Fair enough. Well, we probably would have lost there. We always lose at crap grounds at the moment. That's
maybe that.
One thing about this Wigan slide, this Wigan in crisis, all this sort of talk. We haven't played at home for 2 months, and
have you got some coming up?
We haven't lost at home yet, which I don't want to kind of jinx us on Thursday night. But we haven't played at home since before Magic Week.
Have you got a series of matches coming up then at home?
We have got 4 of our last 5 games are at home. We've got Leeds, Warrington Saints, and Catalan.
Right, yeah, okay.
Come at home.
Because that's one of the things when Lenihan was doing when he gate crashed the Rob Elstone press conference the other week.
I'd say more set it up.
And he was going on about the fixtures. He sort of said, like Wigan are playing. Did he say they're playing St Helens, Leeds, and Warrington all in a row? And he's saying
basically, yeah, three out of 4 weeks.
Yeah, and he was saying
because Huddersfield have moved their home game against us to a Thursday. I'm not sure why. Possibly something to do with the ground availability or something. But basically, we play 3 Thursday nights out of 4.
Yeah.
3 home games against our biggest draw tickets, and 2 of those are going to clash with England games potentially in the Football World Cup. So it's not landed really well for us in terms of bringing in revenue through the turnstiles.
I'll be fascinated when Super League, if they seize their own control, I'll be fascinated to see what they can do, because there are so many clubs in Super League who don't have control of their own ground. Yeah, and Wigan is one of them. They get told when they can play at home, and what you find is that it's the lower. I suppose Athletic are back up into the Championship now, but it didn't feel quite like we were being dictated to as much last year when they were back in League One. But presumably some of these 7 matches away, presumably the ground's been reseeded or something like that, has it?
There's been a new hybrid pitch. No. So apparently the pitch is quite similar to the pitch they have at Wembley.
Okay, right. That's
Old Trafford,
where it's where they where there's a bit of plastic in it, and then there's a lot of grasses sewn in with it as well.
They basically weave plastic into grass. I'm not really sure, but that's what apparently we've got. So we'll see. See what goes on.
I think that's the massive thing. I can imagine it must be a bloody nightmare trying to do the Super League fixtures, because you've got so many clubs in Super League share their ground, don't they, with somebody else who's got a bit of it, and
also don't forget they built our ground on an old waste tip that doesn't drain properly.
Right, yeah.
That stuff. So when you've got a northern British winter close to the Pennine, playing 2 games a week because it's the Championship and League One. They play so many games in the winter on weeknights and that sort of stuff. It just cuts up the pitch to shit, and I'm glad that they're not going to have that extra Pony Cup competition next year to play more games in the midweek in the middle of the winter to rubbish our pitch that we leave for him in perfect condition in September.
That's the thing, I think. So I think that it is really difficult, and then so you get these things, and with Wigan having had all these games away from home, I suppose you've just got to suck it up, really, haven't you? And then work on the basis that actually they've just got to make the most of it when they get the home fixtures, haven't they, in a bit of a run.
No, exactly, but it does sort of distort the picture, a little bit. But anyway, we'll see how we get on, because we've got 5 games left and 5 games in proper modern stadiums, so we'll see if my theory holds true again. Stats-wise, Wigan made 5 fewer handling errors and gave away 2 fewer penalties, and made 1 more break. However, Cass made over 100 metres more and had big wins in the efficiency stats, with a big 1.5 metre per carry better average gain and a 2.1% better team tackle success rate. Most of that team tackle success flip either way was down to Junior Moores just palming people off constantly. He had 13 tackle busts in this game. It's ridiculous. Michael Shenton had a try and 116 metres. His try was really cleverly worked the Wigan edge defence didn't have a clue where he was running. Quinton Lalu guy had a try, 7 tackles, 180 metres, 2 clean breaks. Paul McShane had 2 try assists, 48 tackles and 12 marker tackles, so bit of work both